Hey, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm walking you through 4 trades I took this week, and we're gonna break down how each one played out. So on the pound, on the 1-hour time frame, I was looking for a buy position, because price had started an uptrend, making higher highs and higher lows. And as you can see here, we've also got an MSS forming. So the first thing I did was draw the DRT from this area up to the highest high. If you're not sure how I'm drawing the DRT, or you're wondering why I picked this specific zone, there's a video up above that explains it. Go check that out. Once I plotted the DRT on the chart, I noticed the 25% DRT level lined up with this order block and the 1-hour FVG. So I switched to the 15-minute timeframe to map out the zone more precisely. And here I've got a really strong FVG. On top of that, I've also got the order block and the FVG together, so this zone is super important to me. Above this zone, there's also some liquidity sitting there, which could pull the market up to this level. So I just waited for price to come back down into this zone. So this analysis was for Monday, but price actually hit my zone the next day, on Tuesday. A lot of the time I place limit orders, but sometimes, if my entry lines up with New York session time, I'll enter manually instead. Here, price came up to my zone a few times and gave some fake out entries, but the real entry happened during the New York session. Now, how do we know these entries weren't the real ones? Easy, just look at the liquidity they left behind. Here, during the Asia session, price made this move, and a lot of people might think an MSS happened right here. But if you look closely on the 5-minute, you'll see the market actually created equal lows liquidity, so the move can't be starting from here. It has to come back and take out this low first. Timing matters too. For me personally, it's really important that the DRT level actually gets tapped before I enter. So right at the start of the New York session, the market created an MSS on the 5-minute chart. I entered my buy in the FVG that formed there, with SMT confirmation against the euro, targeting the buy-side liquidity and equal highs up above. By getting confirmation on the 5-minute, we're basically double-checking the setup, so we can enter with a lot more confidence. My stop went behind this order block, and the risk to reward on this one was 1 to 4.5. Because the trade was executed at the right time and the right price, it hit my target really fast, with strong momentum. I honestly love this style of entry, because everything is controlled and confirmed, so even if it does hit your stop loss, you're at peace knowing you did the right thing. Alright, let's move on to trade number 2. My next trade was on the euro, and the concept was pretty similar to the pound trade. Here, the euro swept the liquidity below these lows, and on the 1-hour time frame it reached this order block and FVG. On top of that, this setup is similar to the AMD cycle: accumulation, manipulation, distribution, where consolidation happened here, then manipulation, and from here I'm expecting distribution. So the first thing I do is draw the DRT, to figure out what zone price is currently in. I usually focus on the 25% DRT level, and I expect price to reach that area. Then I move to the 15-minute time frame to plot the levels more precisely. Here we've got an IFVG, plus a breaker block and FVG that overlap with the 1-hour level, so we're waiting to see a reaction from price at this level. And as you can see, after price hit this level, it jumped up. So my directional bias was correct. Now I move to the 5-minute time frame and wait for price to come back to the discount leg, the one that flipped the move from bearish to bullish and formed the MSS. Here, I'm using the DRT again. At the 25% DRT level, we've got a breaker block, a CISD, an FVG, and an order block all lining up. On top of that, just like with the pound trade, there was SMT here too. So I placed my order here, with the stop loss at the low of the range, and the take profit at the equal highs up here. Price triggered my order and hit close to a 1:3 take profit. Since my order got triggered during the Asia session, price didn't have that much momentum. Now let's jump into trade 3. This one's a personal favorite. My next trade was on gold. At the start of the week, the market came in, swept the liquidity below this low, and moved up with momentum, breaking through 3 of our bearish PD arrays and forming an MSS right here. As usual, I started by drawing the DRT, and I saw that the 25% level lined up with the 1-hour FVG and order block. So I moved to the 15-minute timeframe and refined the zones. Then on the 5-minute timeframe, I waited for my entry. Here on the 5-minute, I had an FVG that got violated, and I entered on the return to this IFVG, targeting the buy-side liquidity. Given the liquidity sitting higher up, I was actually expecting a bigger take profit, but I stick to my plan, so I had to close here, and it gave me roughly a 1 minute and 6.5 seconds take profit. And now, for the last one, and honestly, my favorite result of the week. The next trade was on the Japanese yen. The confirmation for this one came from overlapping standard deviations in this zone, but my entry was still on the 1-minute timeframe, using the 2022 model style. After the MSS, I entered on this FVG, and I set my TP at these equal lows. It gave me roughly a 120 risk to reward. Honestly, it was really exciting, because it's rare for me to be this patient. Usually I take a smaller take profit. So that was my 4 trades for this week. I hope you found it useful.